And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern Eagles inch closer and closer to their September 5th season opener against Charleston Southern at Paulson Stadium. They had their first scrimmage of the preseason this past Saturday. They'll have their second and final scrimmage coming up this Saturday at 11:30. We had a chance to talk with offensive coordinator Ryan Aplin about how he thinks things look on that side of the football. As for our area high school football teams, it's the season openers for our area public schools. The Statesboro Blue Devils taking on Southeast Bulloch. We'll hear from Southeast Bulloch head coach Jason Anthony and Statesboro coach Matt Dobson, as well as the Bulloch Academy Gators, who started the season 1-0 with a big victory at home against Pinewood. This week, they'll be back in action as they host Brentwood and the Portal Panthers. Also, will be opening up the season. They'll be opening it up on Saturday as they'll play Wheeler County in the Irk Russell Classic. We'll preview all those games and have much more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report.
Statesboro Country Store is proud to support all Bulloch County and surrounding area athletics. We've been fueling up for almost 20 years, with 3 locations in Statesboro and locations in Sylvania, Wadley, and Bagsley. Statesboro Country Stores is the real MVP. And a special shout out to our Bulloch Academy Gators. Go get them.
The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part thanks to Wing Max of Statesboro, located next to Walmart on Highway 80. Wing Max is inviting the community to join in celebrating 15 years of flavor, friendship, and community September 12th from 11 to 2. As part of the celebration, Wing Max is proud to recognize Safe Haven as its 2026 Nonprofit of the Year, with 15% of all proceeds from the anniversary going to Safe Haven. Guests can enjoy great food, family activities, entertainment, and more, including a $1,000 raffle giveaway at Wing Max off Highway 80 next to Walmart. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles getting closer to their season opener September 5th at home against Charleston Southern. One of the big question marks, the Eagle offense, who returned no starters from a year ago, 11 newcomers, a couple players coming back from injury. We had a chance to talk with offensive coordinator Ryan Aplin about how he feels things are coming together on that side of the football.
Guys are competing, kind of just like spring, got a lot of new pieces. So a big thing, trying to learn how to mesh with one another and gel. Offensively, it's about all 11. Those guys got to all be pulling in the same direction. So, again, you got guys all competing for jobs. We lost 12 guys that I consider all starters, especially the 2 centers. And so you got a bunch of young guys who haven't played a bunch of snaps that are extremely talented. And you got a bunch of new guys, same thing, a couple guys who have played quite a bit of ball, and then a couple guys that haven't. So a lot of them are still learning about themselves, trying to find their way, work through a little bit of adversity. But I love the energy, I love the effort and the passion. Now we got to go execute at a higher level. There's a lot of communication that takes on up front. Coach Moose does an incredible job on defense of creating problems and havocs and switching fronts and bringing pressures. And so those guys have got to be tied together. And so what they're seeing right now is, hey, maybe the front side tackle and guard communicate, but the backside guard and tackle don't hear it. Like, that's a problem. And so we've got to do a better job of communication overall. Those guys have got to be tied together. And if we're all wrong, we're all right? If everybody's moving the same direction, everybody gets the call, even though it may not be the right call, as long as we're on the same page, we got a chance for a good play. With Max and Turner, you got 2 guys who have been around the game a long time. Obviously both, Max has got a lot of history of playing ball, and then obviously Turner being a coach's son. And also, those guys are seeing the field really well. Big thing for them right now is taking care of the football. Our job is to take care of the football, move the ball down the field, and go put the ball in the end zone. So I've been really pleased. You got the 2 young guys with Weston, Brian and Charlie, 2 guys that, again, are getting more reps than they've ever had. So, again, finding out about themselves, trying to progress on the fly while getting the book thrown at them defensively, which is great. You want those guys to have to go out there and excel under pressure. So been really pleased. Obviously some ups and downs with the whole group, but those guys have done a great job of being prepared for the moment, going out there playing, and when there is a mistake, learning from it, not letting it happen again. Obviously, OJ had a special season last year, and so always hard to lose a guy that's been here for 4 seasons, and not only just what he does on the field, but his presence off. And so, but I've been really pleased with the off season and going into summer with David Mbadinga and Terrence Gibbs. You know, I know Terrence isn't really practicing right now. He's getting close, but those two guys have kind of done a really good job of getting uncomfortable and being vocal, being leaders, not only by showing it but doing it. And I think that's a big part of that room because you're asked to do a lot. I mean, especially the way we play offense, you got to have extreme courage to be able to play running back. And so Jamarian Samuel, I've been really proud of. Missed the season last year, missed a little bit of spring ball. He's changed his body, which was a challenge for him, and he accepted it. He's done a great job. Then you've got some young guys behind him. You got Bryce, who are getting back, who wasn't here in spring. I've watched him make a couple really big cuts and show some flashes. You got Teo Todd, who's probably looked the most comfortable he's ever been. You know, a guy who played quarterback his whole career. And so just to see him start to show those flashes of, oh, wow, like this kid can really go. And then you got the freshman Ty Cummings. He has shown all that speed, you know, and so that guy's pushing those guys for a spot. And I've been really pleased with the room. There's not a drop-off when guys go in, which is huge. Again, same thing. That's probably one of the tightest rooms on the team. And you feel that at practice. You feel those guys communicate and get excited for one another. And I think that's what this game's about. This is probably the most depth we've had in both receivers' rooms, just in terms of the depth with the guys. I've been kind of the same thing. You know, I'll start with the outside room. You got guys like Ashton and Alex and Andre who are a little bit older, who have played quite a bit of ball. And they kind of lead the way. You know, they do a great job. They're always in the film room. They're always up there watching. And what I love about that group is they're always asking questions. Hey, Coach, what about this? Well, Coach, if I get this, what do you expect? And I think that's how, especially for the quarterbacks, you can stay on the same page. You got King Phillips, who is doing an unbelievable job. Coming off a little bit injury, kind of been off and on, but you're starting to see the flashes from him and getting comfortable with the system. You got Cameron King from Auburn, who obviously I've known for a long time, but he's starting to come into his own again, was on and off with injuries in the springtime. Obviously right now we're without Noble Johnson, you know, who's fighting his way to get back. And then, you know, Zay. Zay is the big freshman. He's kind of drinking through a fire hose right now, but man, he is big and pretty. The same thing, right? You see the guy go out there and he attacks the football. He's physical at the top of his route. And so the leadership in that room by those top three guys, I think, is a separator because of what we ask them to do. And it's not just when we're throwing the football, it's when we're blocking. And I think that's a big piece to success is in order to be able to push the ball down the field, you got to have guys who are unselfish on the edge willing to block. And then the slot room, obviously it starts with Josh Dallas. I think everybody knows who he is. I'm just excited he's back out there with us. It's just good to see him move around. He looks faster than he's ever been, more fluid, more smooth, and I think he's got confidence. Taylor Bradshaw, obviously a hell of a special teams year last year, a guy that we got big hopes for. You know, we lose a lot of production in the receiver room last year with guys all over 50 catches, so you're hoping he's going to step into a new role. You got Cam Michael coming off of injury. You got Jeremiah Ware, who's a young guy who showed flashes this spring. You got Peanut. Peanut's done a great job of kind of getting his feet wet going into his second year. You also got Jarvis, and I think the guy that is slowly starting to sneak around is Antavius Murphy. You know, had an injury, didn't really get to see a bunch of playing time last year. Showed up a little bit in spring, but now he's starting to really get comfortable. He's really coming into his second year. And you just see the speed, you see the suddenness, and I think a lot of that has to do with, man, he's just prepared. There's confidence. There's not a bunch of thinking going on. He's going out there and playing ball. And so, again, I just rattled off a bunch of names. This is the most depth we have. Now it's about who can separate themselves, who can go out there, be the best player, and give us the best chance to win.
The Eagles will hold their second and final scrimmage of the preseason coming up Saturday at 11:30. Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll preview our area high school football games. Gerard Pre-Owned of Statesboro voted best place to buy a pre-owned vehicle 12 years running. 3 decades of experience in serving our community. Locally owned and operated, every vehicle undergoes rigorous multi-point inspections and thorough reconditioning. Flexible financing for all credit types, whether you're starting fresh or building credit, they've got you covered. Experience the Gerard difference today. 2330 Northside Drive West in Statesboro. Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils had a scrimmage a couple weeks ago against South Effingham. They've had a chance to work on some of the problem areas that they may have had as they get set for their season opener coming up this Friday night in Brooklyn as they take on Southeast Bulloch. Here with Statesboro High head coach Matt Dobson. And coach, coming off the scrimmage game that you had a couple weeks ago, what do you feel like you learned, and what are you guys been kind of working on since then?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just cleaning up some mistakes from the scrimmage, and a lot of those are just some self-inflicted things. Obviously, we had a lot of drops, and then just some missed opportunities offensively, busted assignments and things. But I thought our guys played really hard, on both sides of the ball, and then defensively, just some minor little fit things, fitting the runs the right way. But once again, I thought our guys played really hard, and so was happy with the effort we played with and the physicality that we played with, and just really the last 2 weeks really been focused on us and zoning in on just areas that we need to improve on.
Offensively, you guys have shown you can win running the ball or throwing the ball. How are you feeling about both of those aspects right now?
Yeah, we certainly feel, we've had a good offseason throwing the football, and we feel like we're much better in that area. Had some guys missing last Friday night from the scrimmage that didn't play, and then obviously, like we talked about, had a lot of drops. But we feel good. I feel like we can definitely throw the football. And then, I thought when we did run the ball in our scrimmage in the first half Friday night, we had some, we popped a couple good runs. And so just want to be able to take what the defense gives us. Last year in this game, we ended up running the ball close to 50 times, and that was just what they presented to us. And so, just excited to get out there and, have the ability to be able to do both is a good thing.
Defensively, more question marks on that side of the ball. How are they doing right now? How do you feel?
Yeah, I thought they played, for the most part, played really good in our scrimmage. Playing a wing T team in South Effingham in our scrimmage is something we don't see a lot. I thought our guys adjusted really well into the physicality aspect of it. We gave up a few third and longs, some things we got to clean up there. Really just some busted assignments and just a couple things to clean up. But I thought their physicality was really good, and I thought we tackled. For the first live action, I thought we tackled fairly well. Certainly going to be a big part of the game Friday night is continuing to tackle well and eliminating explosive plays.
Well, you alluded to it. You got Southeast Bulloch on the road to open up the season Friday night. How are you feeling about going in, and what do you feel like you have to do in order to win?
Yeah, we're excited. Just being the first game obviously is exciting, and then you get to do it against a crosstown rival, and adds an extra element to it. And so we're excited about that. Certainly, I think they're going to try to run the football. They're good up front on the offensive line, and got a mix of backs playing a lot of different guys at running back, and then the quarterback is an added element to their run game. And so we got to be able to stop the run. And then I think the other, big thing defensively is like I said, limiting the explosive plays. They got some guys, number one is a big physical receiver, and if you miss tackles on him, he can create some explosive plays like he did in their scrimmage, and then, their backs can go a little bit too. So we want to eliminate the big plays. And offensively, we got to find ways to run the football when we need to, and then just take what they give us. They're going to try to keep the ball in front and not give up explosives, and so we just need to take what they give us and don't force things.
Is the rivalry something you talk with the kids about, or is it kind of just another game?
Yeah, certainly. We make mention of it. What I've really told our kids is the rivalry aspect. That really plays a factor for one or two series, right? And then that stuff wears off, and that emotion wears off, and it's who can go be more physical, who can go execute better. And so we've talked all week just about us setting the standard of how we're going to play and not letting an opponent dictate that. Certainly we want to play with great emotion every week, and certainly having the rivalry aspect kind of adds to that. But we want to play with great emotion, but play under control as well. And so just being mindful of those things. Hopefully we do go out there and play with great emotion, but under control as well.
It's a rivalry game, has been every time you guys play each other, but the added element this year is it also matters a lot more because of the fact that it's the power polls.
Yep.
Every game is basically a region game.
Yeah, for sure. They've kind of had that experience really for the last 2 years. They've been a part of the power rankings, and so it's kind of already been that for them, and certainly for us, it adds an element to it. And certainly that was a conversation we had as a team in the kind of early in fall camp, and just how PSR really matters. But from our coaching staff standpoint is where I think it really comes into play more. Some things that you may hold for region play, or you certainly got to be ready now, and whether that's running the quarterback more than you traditionally would in a non-region game or a trick play here or there. Everything's on the table for all these games. They all matter the same. So it certainly adds, I think more for our coaching staff than anything else.
Here with Davis Harrison, tight end and receiver at times for the Statesboro Blue Devils. And Davis, you guys had a scrimmage a couple weeks ago. You've been working the past couple weeks to kind of get some things right that you might have had issues with in that game. Where have you seen some improvement in the on the offensive side of the ball?
Yes, sir. Offensively, I think our screen game was pretty weak. In the scrimmage, I think we've done a lot to get that back up to where it was. I think we've done a great job of doing that.
Running the ball, throwing the ball, where are you seeing the strides, and how do you feel about both of those?
We've got a deep running back room. I think we got a lot of guys who can take some big runs, and we've got a lot of weapons on the outside for passing the ball around. I think we can do a little bit of all of it.
So you got Southeast Bulloch coming up, but obviously it's a rivalry game because you're both in the same county, but this time around with the power polls, all the games kind of matter
Yes,
the
sir.
same. How are you feeling about this game?
It's just one we got to go win, like always, especially now more than ever. You got to take these games way more serious than you have in the past few years. Every game counts now.
What do you feel like you have to do in order to come out on top? Have you seen Southeast? What do you expect out of it?
Just play how we should, play hard, play till the final whistle, and we should play very well.
Caleb Scroggins, defensive back for Statesboro High. Going into to this game this week, I know you guys have been working on some things on defense. Where have you guys been working, and how do you feel about the defense right now?
At practice, we've been working on containing the edge and making sure everybody is fit in the right run and in the right spot. So as long as we do that, and then we keep our safeties in check, and everybody stay true to the game and don't try to cheat anything, we should be straight.
What do you expect out of Southeast Bulloch? You've seen them, in camp stuff. You've seen them last year. What do you expect?
From watching film like we did yesterday, we watched it a good little bit. We should be expecting more run than pass. But like I said, we got to keep ourselves true to anything. It's a football game at the end of the day, and it really matters. So we're going to watch it and stay true to it.
Of course, there's a little bit of a rivalry between Statesboro and Southeast. You see these guys a lot. You know each other. Some of y'all are friends. What does that do in a game like this?
To me, honestly, it doesn't change anything. At the same time, they're still an opponent. They're not on the same team as us, even though we know some of those guys. We got to treat them like an opponent, play against them like we would any other team.
At Pope Construction, we've been trusted to build Southeast Georgia for over 50 years. Family owned and operated, we take pride in delivering quality projects on time, every time. From schools to churches and government facilities, our team is committed to integrity, excellence, and building relationships in the communities we serve. Learn more at popeconstructionco.com. Over Southeast Bulloch head coach Jason Anthony, this will be his first game as the head coach for Southeast Bulloch as the Jackets host Statesboro High. Southeast Bulloch 1-5 against the Blue Devils all time, hoping to change things around. They did win in 2024 with Anthony as the defensive coordinator. We had a chance to talk with him about how things are looking coming off their scrimmage against Johnson a couple weeks ago and their matchup with the Blue Devils. We're here with head coach Jason Anthony of Southeast Bulloch. And coach, you had a scrimmage a couple weeks ago. Coming into this game, what have you been working on that you saw in the scrimmage, and what did you like that you saw?
So our pad leverage across the board, offensively and defensively. Our pad leverage as far as getting that pass down, also playing with great pad leverage and playing behind our pads on defense. So collectively right now across the board, just our pad leverage from the scrimmage. So also with the scrimmage too, our guys played 3 quarters. I'm trying to wait to see our guys play 4 full quarters.
Where do you feel like the strengths are, and where are you looking to see improvement?
So improvement-wise, up front defensively. Like I'm not saying those guys are bad by no means. There's a good quality group of guys up front. It's just some inexperience up front, defensive line-wise. Our strengths, though, is offensive line and also our skill kids on offense and defense. Again, offensive line-wise, we got some guys who return with Jared Maddox, and skill kid-wise, of course, Aiden Peterson, Eli Reed, Jay Sean Howard, and our quarterback who are waiting to see play a full game again, J.K.
Yeah, it's kind of tough for a lot of these guys that might be getting their first varsity game is going to be under the lights against a big rival team with a full packed house.
Yes, sir. So I told him yesterday, we can't buy into who we're playing because at the end of the day, with me, it's 1-0 each week, but it's us versus us. No matter if we're playing Statesboro, no matter who it is, it's us versus us. The packed crowd's going to be there. The energy's going to be there, but we have to contain ourselves, and maintain our composure for full game.
So you got Statesboro coming in. You're familiar with them. You saw a lot of them last year, and I'm sure you've been checking out the film. What do you expect out of them this time?
So they're well coached. Coach Dobson does a great job over there. His staff does a great job over there as well. Again, those guys are well coached, big bodies. Guys play on one side of the ball, so that's a huge plus for a team. I'm expecting them to give us a good game. I'm expecting them to be Statesboro, a typical Statesboro team. They're going to come right at us. They can run it. They can throw it. Of course, they got some trick plays they got here and there. Defensively, Coach Lord does a great job with the defensive guys. The linebacker-wise, secondary, and up front, too.
So what do you feel like you have to do in order to come out of this with a victory?
So our special teams have to be on point, personal opinion. I feel like they have a quality offense, we have a quality defense. They have a quality defense, we have a quality offense. I'm waiting to see how our special teams play.
Here with Taylor Chaney and Taylor playing on both sides of the ball, you guys had a scrimmage under your belt. What did you feel like you learned after that?
I feel like coming out of the scrimmage, we learned a lot about our team and how we play. We play really aggressive, and I feel like coming into Statesboro, we're going to be ready to play.
What do you feel like the strengths are of the team right now?
I feel like our new quarterback, he has a great arm on him. We have plenty of receivers to throw to, and defense-wise, we have a lot of big bodies on the line.
For you guys, a lot of you, like you, play on both sides of the ball. What's that like when you're going up against a team where most of their players are only playing one side?
You have to dig deep and don't come off the field. It's pretty tiring, but you'll learn to get over it.
So at Statesboro, what do you know about them? What do you expect on Friday night?
Defense-wise, we expect a lot of screens, and they're going to be having some tricks up their sleeves the whole time. So we're just coming out there open-minded and ready to play.
What's it like to have this game at your place? You're going to have a great crowd here. This is probably a game that you guys will remember from the atmosphere as much as anything else.
I feel like we're really going to feed off the energy home game, and we're going to be ready to play and come out with a lot of energy, and we're just ready to hold this game and prove something to ourselves.
We're here with receiver and cornerback Eli Reed. And Eli, tell me a little bit about how you guys are feeling this week as you get ready for the big game.
We feel pretty good, just getting prepared for Statesboro and just ready to play.
Coming off that scrimmage, what did you guys learn about yourselves?
We really learned like this team can actually be good and go far this season, and everybody competing and just working hard every day.
What do you feel like the strengths are going in?
The strengths, our offense and our defense too. Receivers, we got good receivers, good corners, good safeties, and just a good team overall.
What do you know about Statesboro? What do you expect from them?
I really just expect, a pass game. They're going to pass the whole time. I just expect that really.
So what do you feel like you guys have to do to come out on top in this game?
Just get at them early, show them early, get physical, relentless aggression, relentless effort, all you say, just start.
Going to be a great crowd out here. What does that do for you guys, and how are you feeling about this rivalry?
I feel good, can't let the city down, just got to go at them.
Well, for the Bulloch Academy Gators, they started the season 1-0 with a 44-6 victory over the Pinewood Patriots. We'll have a chance to talk with head coach Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players about their matchup coming up Friday at Gator Alley against Brentwood.
This is Paul Newman, owner and broker of Statesboro Real Estate. I have I've been in the business over 20 years and completed well over 1,000 transactions, helping buyers, sellers, and investors navigate the home buying process. One of the things that sets us apart is our tie to the university. I'm the official real estate agent of Georgia Southern Athletics. With our team of experienced brokers and agents and our online presence, we can help you navigate any deal. Along with Statesboro Real Estate, I'm the co-owner of PMG Rentals, where we manage over 1,300 properties, improving the lives of investors and tenants since 2009. Whether you're looking to rent, buy, or sell, make sure you call Paul.
All right, here with Coach Aaron Phillips. And Coach, coming off a big win over Pinewood, I know you were a little frustrated after the game about some penalties and some things you hope to get a little bit sharper. What, now that you've seen some video, what do you take away positive and negative from there?
Yeah, I mean, one of the negative things is obviously penalties. I mean, we had too many penalties, and they're costly, especially when you're playing tight games or really good opponents. I mean, fortunate for us, Friday night, we were able to score a lot of points and were able to overcome some of those penalties. I don't think you do that against really good football teams. Positive, we played pretty good defensively. There was a couple missed cues, a busted coverage they were able to score on. But other than that, I thought we were better than the year prior. There wasn't as many blown assignments. And that comes from, being older. Being in the system a couple more years. I thought we did some youthful things last year. We corrected some of those, so that's a positive. Offensively, we were able to run the ball for over 300 yards. I mean, we threw the ball pretty well too. We had 77, 80 yards, something like that, throwing the ball. And we have a couple of weapons out there, and people can't. This year one of the things I think is probably a blessing for us is that we do have that threat. And we've always had it, and we've always done pretty good, but it was a lot of play action, catching people off guard, and this year we're able to line up anytime we want to, and we've been able to throw the ball pretty effectively.
So you got Brentwood. Most teams say that, or coaches say, between the first game and second game is where you make your biggest progress. You got Brentwood coming up Friday here. What do you expect out of them, and where are you hoping to see that game?
Yeah, I mean, Brentwood has some really good players. I mean, they got 3 guys that have offers. I mean, they got a junior running back that has, I think he's committed to North Carolina. He's a 204-pound running back, and he's very good. They have some really good skill guys that, have another wide out who won the 100 at the state track meet. So they can really run. They're coming off a loss versus their rival in John Millage, so they're going to be chomping at the bit to get in the win column. And we got to execute at a high level. They play really, really hard. They have a lot of guys. They do a little bit different. They're undersized at some positions, but man, they play really hard. And you can make up for some from size when you can get after it like they do. We're going to have to eliminate the big plays. They love that. They love to kind of just grind and then just trying to pop one on you. We can make them punt and get off the field a couple times. Offensively, I like our game plan. Defensively, them in space is what you always worry about, because they run so well. But, we did a lot of stuff with this summer with a lot of the public schools, and we try to do that every off season to, we're tackling a lot of guys that can run. So we hope that helps us out as we move forward through the year.
Here with Bulloch Academy lineman James Lee. And James, you guys are coming off a big win against Pinewood. I know Coach was excited about the win. Felt like there were still some things you guys could get a little better at. Where are you feeling?
I feel like beating a rival first week is always big, no matter what sport you're playing or like whoever your rival is. But yes, there's always work to be done early season. I think we just got to keep moving forward, and we'll put it together.
What areas do you feel like you guys are doing pretty well in, and where do you feel like you guys need to get a little bit better?
We pride ourselves in the seniorship and the ability to lead, with our big guys up front in the line. So I feel like we're doing well in there. So I feel like if we just put a team away early, then that's what we're going to be successful at. And what we need to work on, I think just being able to read our blocks better. We're getting to the right spots. We just got to read those blocks.
So you got Brentwood coming up here at Gator Alley again. How are you feeling about Friday night's game?
I feel like it's going to be a battle. So, we got a hard schedule this year, but I feel like with the team that we have, the ability and like the want to that we have this year, it's going to be a battle. So I feel like we're going to be pretty good.
Here with Bulloch Academy's Nick Eason. And Nick, coming off a big win against Pinewood, where do you feel like you guys did well? Where do you feel like you still need to do a little work?
I feel like we did well sometimes executing, on offense. But I feel like there's things that we need to clean up on, like offense and defense, because, to be honest, they shouldn't have scored on us. We got to do better as a team and work together.
Where do you feel like you guys on defense have improved from last year to this year?
Definitely being more physical on the line. Secondary, we got a little bit better of not allowing big touchdowns, even though that was the only touchdown that happened, but we definitely got better, mostly on the defensive line.
So you got Brentwood coming up here Friday. What do you expect out of them? What do you feel like you have to do to come out with a win?
Even though they got blowed out last week, we still know that they're a hard team to beat. So we have to come out being the more physical team, the more technique-wise team.
And rounding things out, the Portal Panthers will open up the season in the Irk Russell Classic for the 4th time in the past 5 years. This time around, they'll be taking on Wheeler County Saturday at 6 o'clock at Paulson Stadium. That's going to wrap things up for this week's show. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.